We've got Nicole coming up. Okay, so we're going to give it about 3 minutes before we get going. But for those who are filtering in now and joined right on time, first, thank you for joining on time. It's greatly appreciated. But two, you are in for a real treat. We've got a panel of amazing speakers, one, but two, we have some fantastic resources and scholarships specific to the people who are on this call right now that we want to give out to you. And it's also applicable to those listening to the recording who said they couldn't make it but want to watch it. You can apply as well. Okay, so this event has a couple really exciting things. The first that I'll talk about for a second as we let folks join is the scholarship, which is specific to military spouses. And it is very similar to other scholarships that we run. So right now, by being on this call, you have preferential access to this scholarship. You are the first person who will be able to apply to it. So as I describe it, I'm going to put this link in the chat. Okay, so if you're on this call and you're a military spouse, you can use that link that is now in the chat to apply for a scholarship from Boots to Books that is exclusively for military spouses. If you apply within 21 days, you'll hear from us. And if selected, you'll get up to $1,000 to pay for training of your choice. So whether you want a PMP, a CompTIA to become a financial planner, whatever it is, if you need clinical hours that are supervised, all of these things, we can pay for them. So that link, there's a small group on here of MIL spouses. And so you've got a very good chance of being selected if you apply. Take advantage of it. So that is the first thing. The big announcement for today is that we now have a military spouse exclusive scholarship. And so all of you who joined, thank you for being here and you get the first crack at it. So we're really excited about it. And I want to give a shout out to one person specifically, Will Pullman, who encouraged us to do this. And he was right. It took us far too long to do so. And so excited about that. The second training opportunity, as you can tell, we are going to pepper you with resources, then give you expertise and record it all and send it over so that hopefully it's digestible the second time around. Okay. The second training opportunity we have specific for military spouses is a Google certification. So Google has trainings in 8 different fields in digital marketing, data analytics, information technology, project management, cybersecurity, everything you can imagine. If you are on this call, you get one. If you want one, you get one. And so that link I just sent, if you want to do free foundational training that is taught by Google volunteers and is certificate granting, by joining this call, by being a MIL spouse, you get it paid by Boots to Books. So click that link, go apply, let us pay for your training. Do not spend your own money. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you a super quick overview of Boots to Books and some really great resources available for military spouses. Then I'm going to give you an introduction to each of these fantastic speakers you see surrounding me, if you have the same view that I do. And then we'll get into what you actually came here for, which is their expertise about different industries, specifically industries that MIL spouses can absolutely kill it in. Okay, so some amazing resources. And I'm going to send all of these out in a list with links and descriptions. And so do not take rapid fire notes. Instead, listen for the one that speaks to you and look out for the email with it in there. To start, the National Military Family Association has a scholarship specifically for military spouses for up to $4,000. This can pay for licensing, a degree from associate to PhD, supervised clinical hours, everything you can imagine, up to $4,000. That's one. There's also MyCAA. So if you don't have a My Career Advancement account, you should get one. I believe it is for those who are spouses of, I will put these requirements in the chat, service members in certain ranks. However, if you are a part of that group, there's also several $1,000 scholarships there. And then you can access MySeco on that through the same eligibility, which provides paid fellowships for spouses at different companies. And so MySeco and MyCAA are both affiliated with the DoD. They're both official programs, and both are fantastic. Just look into the specific eligibility. The next, I've got a couple more for you, and that's it, is through FINRA. If you want to work in finance, Sarah is going to tell us a little bit about what working in finance is like, but FINRA will pay for you to get your financial counselor certificate. And if you're not sure what FINRA is, it's the Financial Regulatory Authority, and it is kind of the utmost certification body in finance. If you've ever heard of the Series 7, the Series 6, all of those, that is all FINRA. And so they will pay for you to become a financial counselor. Two more, and then we're going to kick it into the speakers. The Secret Service has a spouse-specific program where they will give you a preference in hiring, a very specific one that they've made for their agency, and have an initiative specifically to bring spouses onto the Secret Service. And finally, and then we're going to kick it over, Microsoft Software and Systems Academy has a spouse-specific program for folks to become technical project managers, and they pay complete cost. It's fantastic 17-week training from Microsoft, free. So if any of those things sound interesting to you, you are going to get this big list of resources that also includes things like Act Now Education, that is one of the greatest organizations to ever exist. It will be detailed and broken down for you. And if you have questions about a resource, we will answer them and point you in the right direction. So expect a compendium of resources, and you will get all of them. But now, what you actually came here for, aside from the scholarship and the resources and everything else, is the speakers, not to hear me talk at 30 miles a minute. So I'm going to go through and introduce each one, and then we will get into them actually speaking. So I'm not sure what order they show up for you, but bottom right of me, you'll see Nicole Donraj, and Nicole is a brilliant person who I have the pleasure of actually working with. We started a company together, but Nicole has some fantastic experience across operations and healthcare and human resources, really a diverse set of experiences, from leading imaging departments in hospitals to leading development programs, being a journal reviewer. And so Nicole's got great insights on healthcare, operations, and a little HR too. So Nicole is here. Next is Catherine Gordon. Catherine is an amazing partner of ours. She has been a friend of mine personally and a supporter of us for, gosh, years now, which is crazy to think about. And Catherine has worked at a number of companies in the human resources space, specifically in military talent attraction and acquisition. And so she's got a really good insight into the TA space, but also being at ManTech into the cleared and government contracting space. Next up is Sarah Roeder. Congratulations also, Sarah, on changing the last name. That's exciting. Sarah has some really amazing experience at AFMA. If you're not familiar with AFMA, the Armed Forces Mutual. Gosh, that is a little bit of a tongue twister. They have some really amazing resources for the military community. They have great financial products, which I'm sure you'll hear about, but also really good guides and resources to help you make a financial plan, see what you can afford, and things of that nature, which I'm sure will be included in what we send out afterwards. But Sarah has, since I've known her, I guess, progressed through a ton of different positions at AFMA, each kind of more and more impressive. And so she's got a really good insight into the different parts of a financial organization. Next up is Leslie Coffey. If you do not know who Leslie is and you're on this call, I am not sure how you found out about this call, because Leslie is omnipotent in the military community, in that she leads a lot of the efforts at American Corporate Partners, which, if you're not familiar, provides you with a long-term corporate mentor who can really supercharge your transition, and that they have people in almost every industry, every seniority, every location, to where they get very detailed in matching you with the right person to push your career forward. So Leslie knows a ton about the nonprofit space, a ton about reaching the military community, and has done an amazing amount of work for us. So Leslie, great to have you. And then finally, for our introductions, we have Keita Brock. Keita joins us with some really amazing experience with Loyal Source Government Services. She is a program marketing specialist, and so she is going to bring a really great kind of sales and marketing perspective to the call, which we are beyond excited to have. So Keita, thank you so much for joining us. And now, let's get into it. So Nicole, I'm going to have you kick us off, and I'd love to hear about your background and your advice, and we'll go from there.
All right, and Peter, I do have a couple slides I'd like to share, so if you can give me sharing. In the meantime, welcome everyone. It is a pleasure to be here. As Peter said, my background is quite varied. A lot of people call me the octopus. I got my start really in the military. I had no clue what the military was, and I was on this journey to become a vet, and it didn't work out. I didn't have the experience or the money, so someone said, check out the military. And next thing you know, I was signing a contract. And that got me my start in radiology. Still had no clue about radiology. And even though my career has morphed over the last 25 years, radiology still seems to be my bread and butter, especially with the huge demand. So I have the wonderful privilege of sharing more insights into healthcare. The current state of healthcare is absolutely amazing because there's such a huge demand. Right now, there's about 1.9 million openings. 1.9 million openings across a variety of careers. And this is one of the fastest growing occupations that you would see out there. Now you have cyber, you have tech, but people need to get that healthcare. And it's not something that is going to be completely eradicated with robots or AI. We still need a lot of room for humans. So there's an abundant opportunities, and I would like to give you some insight into that. I did a quick search before hopping on here today just to really assure you that there's a ton of jobs. I just use the word healthcare combined, but you can do a variety. Healthcare, health and care, all sorts of stuff. Look at that, 900,000 plus jobs almost. In radiology alone, there's about 35,000 jobs across the US. And the beauty about this is that you can decide the environment you want. You want an outpatient, you want a hospital, you want home health care, you want an urgent clinic. The world is your oyster when it comes to these types of opportunities. Most people, and you can put in the chat there for me, when you think about healthcare, you're probably thinking, the typical doctor, nurse type, but there's so many more opportunities there, which I'll share in a second. But the benefits, what do you want? Flexible schedule. Maybe you want to work overnight when the kids are in school. You can have responsibilities there. You want something remote. There's opportunity. Portability. You move from state to state, country to country. You want to expand. I started as an X-ray tech. I worked into CT, MR, director. I leveraged my quality. I support quality initiatives, my education background, HR, project management, all of that. I got my start with radiology specific. So there are multiple diverse parts. People say, oh gosh, I'm burnout in clinical. You don't need to do clinical anymore. You can do the administrative side of it. I still love to be front-facing, so I do dabble in clinical work occasionally, but then I've taken all that I've learned in the last 25 years and apply it to teaching. So I do also run my own continuing education company. We're providing cross-training opportunities, and then also, going out there in the field and being as a trainer. So lots of benefits. And to Peter's point, you can get these scholarships. You have opportunities that you can start in a very short frame of time as well. Now, when we think about the roles, again, what are you thinking out there? For those of you who are like, I don't know if this is for me, there is an opportunity for everybody to get started in healthcare in the clinical and non-clinical roles. Maybe your pathway is nursing and you can get started with a CNA, an LPN, a medical assistant. And these are fairly short programs that you can get started with. You don't need a license if you're coming as a patient care assistant. I worked with one clinic that we used to groom a lot of those high school students or, people coming in after they've done taking care of their kids. So they come in, they start at the front desk, then they work their way up, they get some clinical experience, then they go to school to formalize that. So it's definitely opportunity to plug and play where you want to actually eventually be. But you don't need to wait to say, gosh, I need to go to school and wait for that and then come in and then find the job you want. You can certainly work your way up there. So let me show you abundance of these available roles there. You have the administrative and office. So if you want to be front desk, you don't like the gory stuff, you don't want to be involved in the everyday day-to-day care, but you like to serve people. You have a warm and friendly smile, you're good at that customer service. Scheduling, the revenue, the office coordinator, admissions counselor, even things like you can help with support with insurance, or if somebody's getting organ donation, or in my case in radiology, a lot of people are typically claustrophobic. So you have an actual person who can navigate that process, like a child life support person who can help, kind of alleviate the anxiety, the fear. So depending again on what is your preference and what you like. Medical biller, coder. I mean, I'm showing you a ton. There is quite a bit out there. Finance, budget. But wait, there is more. We're not done just there. If you like the project management side of things or the operations, this is where I found myself like, wow, I really enjoy these types of things. So you can leverage your background. Maybe you've had some event project management and now you want to come into a bigger organization and leverage those large healthcare projects underway. Compliance, regulatory, quality, the military especially. You're always supporting some type of checklist and quality assurance. So you definitely can slip into some of these roles, not to mention on the patient safety side of things as well. And then you heard Peter mention my background too with human resource. I never really actually worked in an HR department, but I was the HR person in my department. So wearing multiple hats and then having the opportunity to venture off on there if I wanted to. So healthcare, as you can see, can give you a broad range of experience. You want to try a little bit of that and this, or maybe you're like, I tried that front-facing role. I didn't like it. I like to be behind the scenes. There's definitely an opportunity there. So most of us are concerned typically about the time. Well, you can actually come into a healthcare role within 4 weeks of training. Even with radiology, we have programs like with cross training. Some states don't actually require you to have a license. Think about like Texas, Oklahoma. So you're able to just kind of come in, find somebody who can train you, and knock, knock, because of the demand, you're going to find people ready to train you if you're willing. You're thinking about, oh my gosh, I might be moving in 2 years. My husband hasn't decided where we're going to settle down. That's okay. You can leverage. Some states have reciprocity license or different things for people like yourself. So don't dismiss that, gosh, you know what? I got to wait till I settle down. Even if you have gaps in your current resume, you haven't worked for a while, because the demand is so high, to be honest, anybody is a great body right now in healthcare because of that demand. And not to mention, organizations are really trying to beef up that training too. Don't think about the lack of confidence in your background. Leslie is here with ACP. We got MilMentor. Being ready to just go have these conversations with folks. Look at my background. I've done a little bit of this and that. Can you help point me out into the right direction? And when it comes to pay, maybe if you're starting, you'll start depending on your state. Here in Arizona, minimum wage is about 17. You can come into an entry-level healthcare role right about that $20 mark on the clinical, the non-clinical side, maybe about 23, 24, and work your way up there. Of course, you also have the ability to leverage your background. And think about those career ladders. Again, when you come into a role, don't feel like this has to be where you are for the next 5 years. You can leverage that 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, 5 years, however long you want to stay, but you have opportunities to be very agile and fluid within healthcare. Then, as when you look about, if you're thinking, okay, time, money, definitely look at the ones where you can come in with a 4-week certification, maybe a 9-month certification, and start building upon there. Because you can use this and then continue, getting those certifications or additional training and education to help support where you eventually want to be. You don't need to start from scratch. You can definitely leverage that background. Maybe you've done some admin work. You've been a project coordinator for your church. You've been supportive in your kids' games, and helping with PTA. All of those things, you definitely, if you are able to find somebody, a great mentor to get you your resume or how to articulate that, would be ideal for you. But like I said, the easiest entry right now is into a hospital or an outpatient, either on the admin or clinical side. Then you have, of course, if you had some experience and you want to come into that mid-level or high level, you have the business side with operations, HR, and the higher level positions there. Well, you can definitely add your comments in the chat here. I advocate for healthcare, even though I have branched out into other areas of business, education. I do fractional services. Healthcare has been my bread and butter. I left the military, and then I spent 2 years in the civilian world. I had a master's in international relations. My my associates that I came out with from the military and my years of training there actually loaned me about $25,000 more per year than having a master's degree. Right now, with about 20 years of experience, even in a travel opportunity, you can get maybe about $3,500 a week. With an entry level, you're looking at, maybe 1,000 to 1,500. So the opportunities are there galore. Be open to it, lean into it. It's not just about the blood and the gore and the nasty stuff. What people tell you about burnout and mental health, listen, we have that in a variety of areas, but you have the opportunity to craft the career that you want. So don't just think about it as a clinical focus bedside type of thing. Walk into a hospital or a healthcare organization, you got the supplies, you got the vendors, you got the front desk, you got pharmaceuticals, all of these things that you can participate in. And for you all, if you want to be able to see the trees through the fog very clearly and not have to navigate that, definitely find yourself a mentor, somebody who's walked that or knows the industry. For like myself, for example, I can give you the insight, where it's going, where is a good way to just kind of find yourself and until you can get the education, skills, knowledge, and abilities. But MilMentor, let's still talk about ACP, but here, even though you may not even know where you want to get started, definitely find yourself a mentor who can give you that insight into exactly what is going on. And more so, you may think, gosh, you know what? I never worked in healthcare. I got all of this other experience. Would anybody want me? Being able to leverage your background is a skill, and that's where a mentor can help you as well. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn and ask me any more questions regarding healthcare, I would be happy to do so. But with the state of where we are right now, we're looking for you. Peter?
Nicole, thanks so much. And I think you are completely right. I mean, I remember when I was leaving consulting, we did a healthcare project, and the big takeaway of the project is, wow, there are so few CT techs and so many open jobs. And that was, specific to computed tomography, but it applies to imaging as a whole, healthcare as a whole. And so
Indeed.
I've definitely seen the same. Well, that was amazing and super helpful. If you have questions, feel free to use the Q&A or the chat features. Nicole, I know one that was had, I know you said for relevant backgrounds, you can have an actual clinical background and come in a clinical role. You can get one of these shorter term certifications and then try and start. Or you can look at going onto the admin side where it's less clinical operations, but you're doing more of, medical coding or billing or something of the nature. Would you say for folks who are looking at going into one of those administrative roles, let's say they want to do, not necessarily medical coding, but something that carries across broadly, do you think that folks can break into healthcare in an administrative role without having been in healthcare before? Or are there certain things from their background they should really try and pick up on and emphasize?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it depends on you and what you've done before. So, for example, customer service, those front desk schedulers, customer service agents, a revenue cycle. You don't necessarily need to know everything about finance. A basic medical terminology will get you in the door, but keep in mind too, because of the demand, you are in a great sweet spot that so many organizations are willing to cross-train. So you come with those soft skills, the right attitude, and you can showcase that you have done a little bit of, you've dealt with people, right? And being able to coordinate activities. But at the end of the day too, I do a lot of fractional HR services right now. My last 15 hires have had no healthcare experience because the organization was willing to train them and they, being willing to go after the necessary education that there is. So you have double benefit here. The demand, not to mention if there's opportunity to start without a license, if you go into the clinical roles, but those front-facing roles, people just want to be able to know that you can interact well with people and then learn on the job.
Got it. That's super helpful. I greatly appreciate you coming on and sharing. I know how busy you are between the 101 things you are doing, and I think the octopus might be a fitting nickname. But welcome to hop off or hang out. But thank you so much. And to everybody in the chat, that is Nicole, and she obviously just said you could connect with her, so please do. Next up, we have Sarah Roeder. Sarah is an amazing friend of ours. So Sarah, I'm so happy to have you on, and I'll kick it over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Peter. I'm really happy to be here. As Peter said, I am Sarah Roeder. I am the Director of Partnership and Member Engagement here at Armed Forces Mutual. Armed Forces Mutual is a nonprofit organization. We were established in 1879. So we just celebrated our 146th birthday, but we are grounded and we are founded in being a premier provider of financial solutions for the military community. It is what we do every day in lots of different capacities. Today, we're going to be talking about, right, how to get into the finance space if you're looking for employment. I am a military spouse. My husband is retired military. We have 5 kiddos, and I have been with Armed Forces Mutual for 14 years because they were able to let me grow as I was a military spouse. So with PCSing and having to move and having to be a solo parent sometimes, a lot of times, they helped foster that within me. And so I think one of the really important things that we sometimes maybe don't talk about as much is making sure when looking for employment is finding an organization or a company that supports that within our military spouses. There are some great ways to do that. The Military Spouse Employment Partnership and Blue Star Families 4+1 initiatives, they highlight organizations that say we want to hire military spouses. We want to give PCS leave. We understand that you might need to remote work and we are here to meet you. I'm probably going to list off a lot of different things. And so at the very end, I will drop everything into the chat so that you can have all of that in one place. But I wanted to make that note because I think as a military spouse, it's really important where you land. And so when you're talking about finances, and if you're thinking, I really like numbers, I really like finance, and I want to break into that space, or maybe you're already in that space, I'm a certified financial educator instructor, meaning that I teach about financial education and readiness and what that looks like. I think one of the fundamental things you have to think about is what part of finance do I want to work within? Just as kind of Nicole had said, there is a multitude of places within healthcare you can work, but the same goes for finance, right? And so when you think about wanting to break into the financial space, are you somebody who likes to educate and teach people? Are you somebody who wants to actually sit down and do the numbers and go through budgets with people? Figuring out where you lie and what you are good at and what you want to be a part of is really important there. There are some accreditations. So when we talk about finance, a lot of it is getting certified or getting certain accreditations. Peter mentioned earlier the AFC. So FINRA has a military spouse fellowship program. The AFC is a certification and accredited financial counselor. If you want to work on a military installation and you want to do counseling and finance, you have to have an AFC. And so, there are places where that they can help you pay for that. Now, a great place to start, though, if you're thinking, I don't really know what I want to do in finance, but I want to learn more, would be the CFEI accreditation. It's really broad. It's a more low-hanging fruit on a commitment-wise as well. So it can be very agile. But having that CFEI will give you a good foundational start of what do I like in finance? And then looking towards, right, do I want to be a CPA or do I want to be a CFP? Do I want to actually do accounting? Do I want to do financial planning? And looking kind of more forward towards those accreditations. And so I think that's a great place to start if you are trying to think, how do I break into the financial space? If you are already in the financial space and you're wanting to level up, maybe you've been on the administrative side, getting those credentialings can be really important. We're a financial institution, right? Armed Forces Mutual, we work with educating in finances all the time. I have a CFEI, but we have lots of employees who do not. So there's lots of roles more on the maybe administrative or support side within organizations and companies that you can kind of get a foot in the door, learn a little bit more, and then see where you want to move within the financial industries. And so those are kind of some highlights when I think about, right, how did I get into this space? It was slowly, right? I didn't just immediately get into it. It took me about 10 years before I found my footing at what I'm doing now, because I was in various different roles and learning about the company and organization, learning about what I wanted to do, what made me, feel purposeful in my job. And so I think that that's really important when looking for kind of where to go for that employment. The other item out there too is there's a great partnership, and actually we're a really big partner with NMFA, the National Military Family Association. They have scholarships that are very broad, more broad than other organizations. They understand military spouses have a unique lifestyle, that we're very transient and that we are alone sometimes a lot, and that maybe we want to do certain things. And so they have scholarships for you if you're thinking, I want to get a certification, or I want to even, become, my own employer and be entrepreneurial, and I need to buy things. And so that's a great resource when we look towards how do you fund the next step in your career choice and opportunity. So I'm going to take a moment here. I'm going to pause. I'm going to drop a whole bunch of stuff into the chat. One of the things is going to be to connect with me. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you have questions about getting into the financial space, about certain certifications, organizations, please let me know. I am happy to help. So hopefully I've been able to give a little bit more insight into kind of where to start if you're thinking about getting into the financial space. What are some important things to think about? Another line item would be, if you don't know where to start, it would be to get a mentor. And so Leslie's on here. She's with ACP. I have had 2 military spouse proteges through the ACP program and helped them navigate getting back into the workforce and figuring out what that looked like for them, figuring out what certifications they needed, in order to get into their space. And so it can be a great starting place. I would say would be to get the mentorship. And then if you're really looking at financing, the best place to start is a CFEI certification. And so hopefully that's been helpful today. If you have questions, please let me know. Peter, if you've got any questions, just let me know.
Yeah, I already have one immediate one. But first, thank you so much. I think the biggest question that I'm sure a lot of folks are wondering is, how did you balance, getting your certifications, building your career in finance, and, having a family of 5 and being a military spouse? I mean, that sounds like an impossible order. And so any tips for folks to manage it all?
Yeah, manage it all. I think military spouses are really great at that, quite honestly. I think the life and lifestyle of being a military spouse is very conducive to just getting it done. I personally, in my professional, work, I use time blocking. So quite honestly, that is the technique that I use. I block time. I'm really intentional with it. Yes, it's crazy and chaotic all the time, but you just have to fit it in. And I think military spouses are very poised to be able to do that. And so that's one of the reasons why, a lot of times there can be, sometimes military spouses can feel a stigma about, I'm afraid to apply for a job because I might have to move in 2 years. And so finding the right organization or company that says, hey, we understand and we value you, can be very impactful to the military spouse community, I think.
Definitely. And it sounds like AFMA has been that company to you. So that's amazing.
Yes, they absolutely have. Please connect with us. We post jobs all of the time about where we're hiring. A lot of our work is remote because they do foster for military spouses, which is amazing.
Do you hire AFCs? A question we got, financial counselors.
Yes, so we have a wealth
Okay.
management and trust division. Our wealth management and trust division hires accredited AFCs, CPAs, CFPs. They also have our wealth management and trust also has what they call relationship managers. Those who might not be accredited, but they still talk with clients about, hey, let me understand what your goals are in finance, and then let me get you to the right person that can help you maybe do the financial plan and sit down with the numbers. So that's again one of those things where there are a multitude of ways to get into or break into the financial space.
Got it. That's super helpful. And I will say, prior to what I do now, I was working in finance and I loved it. I think that military spouses and veterans, the military community as a whole, is just vastly, vastly more successful than any other group, especially working in finance. It's challenging. It requires attention to detail, some creativity, even though you would not think that thinking about finance. And so it really is an industry where there's almost limitless potential for growth, and you will do extremely well. So thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on. We will email out some links to AFMA stuff, also to Sarah's LinkedIn. And so if you miss it in the chat, you shouldn't, because it's right there. But if you miss it, we'll also email it to you. But thank
No
you so
problem.
much, Sarah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Up next, we have the one and only Catherine Gordon, who is potentially my best friend ever. Not really, but Catherine, I am your biggest fan. Catherine has been a huge, huge friend of us for a long time. She is an expert in the HR space. She knows about government contracting with where she's at now. So, Catherine, I'm sure a lot of folks are excited to hear from you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I want to be your best friend. So we're definitely best friends. Thank you all for having me. Thank you to Peter. Thank you to Boots to Books. Thank you for the panelists who are with me. I appreciate all of your advice. To everyone who's listening and will be listening, thank you for your service. Military spouses count just like veterans do, especially in the talent acquisition world, and you need to remember that. So I have a lot to say. Peter might cut me off, but I'm very excited about this. So my name is Catherine. I am a military advocate. I come from a very large military family. My sister's a military spouse. I have my two nieces who are military brats who have just been everywhere. So I definitely understand. Before I talk a little bit about my job and what I do, I just want to give a disclaimer. So I always give a disclaimer when I'm speaking at events. Everything that I say is to give you a perspective. Just because I say it doesn't mean you should run out and do it. If I say you should have your resume formatted this way, oh, Catherine said to do it. No, that's not it. I'm here to give you a perspective, just like everyone else is here on this panel is to give you a perspective. I am not insulted if you don't do anything that I say today and you just want to be my friend. I'm totally okay with that too. But just know that I'm here to answer any questions as well. So I have been in the recruiting talent acquisition space for, as long as I can remember, through 3 companies. So I've done recruiting for Apple Computers, I've done military recruiting for Oracle, and now with the infamous ManTech government contractor, which I absolutely love, one of the best that I've ever been with. The culture, the work-life balance, the really people who are there just supporting you. You just it's a great feeling. So I absolutely love what I do right now. So I work on a team that focuses on high level outreach. We do military spouses, we do early in careers roles, we do university, we do internships, and we also have skill bridge programs. I know you're probably asking, do you participate in the military spouse fellowship programs? Right now we do not, but it is on our list. So it is hopefully coming. I spend my day going to a lot of events, whether they be virtual or in person, supporting different programs here at ManTech, speaking to those who are interested. I share tips and tricks for resumes and interviews. I kind of like to think of myself as I'm your cheerleader. So if you have questions, you want to roll, you need some advice, I am here for you. So just, I dropped some links in the chat about ManTech and our veteran talent community. Military spouses can apply to the veteran talent community because we do treat spouses just as we do veterans, if you want to check that out. So if you're a little bored as I'm speaking to you, check out those links. So again, I spend my day going to recruiting events, speaking to different people. If you're looking to get into talent acquisition, there's so many different things you can do. So there's HR, there's recruiting, there's onboarding, So you have to really find out, what are you interested in? A lot of people tell me I want to be a recruiter because I want to help people, which is great. I spend my day wanting to help people all day long, and I speak to candidates. There are so many different ways to help people if there's not a recruiter position open. You can be an HR business partner, and you can help internally instead of the external candidates. And when you're doing all of that, you can still help with the veteran service organizations that are out there and still make an impact. So it really just depends on what you're looking to do. There are many roles at ManTech. We have cleared roles, we have non-cleared roles. So we just had a website revamp, so you can check it out. You can actually search by keyword, by clearance level, and by location. So that's really great. We also do remote roles, hybrid roles, and on-site roles. So we are a government contractor, and with the way the world is, everybody's going back into the office. So we are going back into the office too. So I know a lot of military spouses require remote roles. We do have them. So you just have to look for them. If you have questions on that, you can email military@mantech.com, and I'd be happy to set it up and have a conversation with you, as well as my peers who check that email address as well. So I'm going through my list here. So what I want to tell you is also, when you're speaking to recruiters, when you're speaking to hiring managers, not everyone understands the military lifestyle. Just because of that, that doesn't mean we're evil or we're not there for you. I've been in many a times where I've been told civilians are evil and they are not my friend. That is not true. Civilians are your friend, especially in the corporate world, and that's what you're trying to go into. So networking is one of the biggest things you could do in talent acquisition. When I'm speaking to people, and I remember I spoke to Keisha when she was first looking for a role. I've known her forever, and I'm so excited that she's here with me. So when you're speaking with people, you want to be there, you want to ask what they do. So if you know me, if you had a conversation with me, I kind of go, and some people like this, some people don't. I ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? So maybe all of your traveling is over, your family is settling down. What is it that you want to be now? So I kind of think of it that way. So recruiters are here to help support you, but we can't decide for you. And that's the biggest thing. So if you look on our career website, we have 400 plus roles right now. I don't know every single one of them. There are so many. And if I could fill a veteran or a military spouse in every single one of those roles, my day would be complete and I would be very happy. And that is always my goal. So just making sure that you're understanding what you're looking for, having your resume set up. Are you putting on your resume that you're a military spouse? That is one of the biggest things I ask military spouses. Are you writing it on the resume? Now, the purpose of this is there are a lot of companies that do veteran-only roles. Here at ManTech, every single role is for a veteran. So that means it is for a military spouse as well. But there are other companies that have veteran-only specific roles. And if you're looking for that, and if you have military spouse on your resume, that will help you get into those veteran-specific roles as well. So making sure you identify yourself is one of the biggest things. It's there to help you, not harm you, no matter what people may tell you. And again, this is where my disclaimer comes in. Just because I say it doesn't mean do it. It's just a perspective of the things that I have seen. There are many resources you can reach into as military spouses. Boots to Books, absolutely love them. We'll go with them forever. Service to Success, love them. MilMentor, ACP, great organization. MSEP, Military Spouse Employment Program. I know it was spoken about before, but ManTech actually puts every single job role that we have, connects into the MSEP portal. So every single military spouse can apply through MSEP portal, and we can see that you're a spouse by applying through that link. So we are a partner of MSEP, and we greatly appreciate everything that you do. HOH, Hiring Our Heroes, is really great as well. They have military fellowship programs you can apply for. So talent acquisition, we are here to help you find a job. And how do you get into that role? It really is finding out all the different HR roles: HR business partner, HR associate, HR admin, onboarding. Again, just like in finance that was spoken about, in healthcare, there are many different types of roles you can do in talent acquisition. Talent acquisition is all about networking. So if you go onto LinkedIn, please have a LinkedIn set up. Make sure it matches your LinkedIn, your resume as well. Recruiters actually double check to make sure that it's not too off. Just make sure, because if you lie to a recruiter, we know. Recruiters are great because we have a network of other recruiters in other companies, and we all talk to each other. So again, be careful how you speak to recruiters, how you speak to hiring managers. You burn one bridge, you might burn a lot. when you're applying for resumes and jobs. Make sure that if you're not at a place to pick up your phone, do not pick up your phone. I had one person pick up their phone when they were at the gym. The weights were banging, and they were like, "Oh, I could fit you in." I'm like, I don't need you to do me a favor right now. Just call me back. So we are there to help you. Remember, when you're picking up a phone as well, "Hi, my name is Catherine. I'm calling from ManTech. Do you have a minute to speak?" We cold call all the time because we find time, we call. "Oh, sure, that'd be great." We can tell when you're not sure who the number is. Always make sure you have that positive demeanor. If you're not in the mood to answer somebody, just don't pick up the phone. Send me to voicemail. I'm okay with that. Call me back. So it really is about those soft skills and the personability in talent acquisition. And again, just networking. We at ManTech, we have something called Meet the Recruiters. So all of our recruiters are either doing video spotlights or they're doing paragraphs about themselves. So they can tell you either what they're working on, a little bit about themselves, and hey, we're friendly, come meet us. We want you to fill our roles for us. So become friends on LinkedIn. You know, a lot of people tell me I'm humble, I'm just doing what I do, and I understand that. You have to be your biggest advocate for a talent acquisition for a recruiter. And if you're your biggest advocate, we're going to see that. I always say there's a fine line between confidence and cocky, and we're all military world, so I'm going to be blunt and say it that way. But you have to be confident. You have to be able to sell yourself because there's only so much I can do. I can get you in front of a hiring manager, but once you're in that room, you're the one that has to sell yourself. You're the one that has to talk about everything on that resume. So if you had someone rewrite your resume, make sure you know what's on your resume because you will be asked about it too. So my advice to you is network, talent acquisition. We love people. We want to talk to you. So, come talk to us. If you're interested in roles, hey, we are hiring at ManTech. I am happy to speak with you. I've dropped my LinkedIn. I have dropped a bunch of different links. You can check us out as well. I am always here to help. If you can't get me on the phone or Peter sends me something, "Hey, Kat, did you talk to this person?" "Oh, wait, got buried in my email." I will call them right now. And I will do that. So just remember, recruiters are reached out to many people as well. Give us grace. That is what I ask. I am someone who does not mind if you keep sending me messages. If you text me at 1 o'clock in the morning, I am not going to answer you. I tell candidates that's one of my biggest things because, hey, there has to be work-life balance for me as well, but I'm going to get to it as fast as I can. So that was a lot of information, a lot of all over the place. I hope that helped a little bit. Join ManTech. We are here. We go to virtual events, in-person events, and we support military spouses. So thank you again for everyone for what you do, and we are here to help you.
Awesome. Well, Catherine, first, thank you as well for all you do. I know that you take a lot of your time to help folks with their resumes and do a lot of things to help and support the job seeker. And so definitely appreciated. I have a couple questions for you, but I also want to reiterate one thing you said. And I think everybody here will realize that this permeates across all the industries that we talk about is that when you're looking for a role, there is the decision of what industry do I want to work in, but there's also what role within that industry do I want? And you want to be as clear as possible about that before you start paying for training, talking to mentors, applying to jobs, because the wider your focus is, the less effective each individual piece of effort is going to be. And so that is truly my best advice would be if you want to work in healthcare, it really speaks to you, or you feel you're still really mission driven and you want to work in government contracting and support the warfighter, whatever it is, that's fantastic. But that's decision one. Decision two is then, okay, which business unit do I belong in? Right? Like, am I a human resources? Do I want to work in cybersecurity? Do I want to work in IT or finance? And that's decision two, but it's still not over, because then decision three would be, okay, I want to work in this industry, in this business unit, in this job. Because even if you say, I want to work at ManTech in government contracting, in cybersecurity, that is not enough, because you could be a SOC analyst or you could be a GRC analyst. And a GRC analyst is like writing policy, and a SOC analyst is like looking at logs, trying to figure out what's wrong. And so like one doesn't get hired for the other. And so as clear as you can get with yourself, that's important. And our next speaker, this is a good segue, except I ruined it by saying that. Our next speaker can tell you about how to find a career interest, narrow down what you really want to do, and a great resource for doing so that has helped, tens of thousands of people at this point. Leslie Coffey with ACP. But before that, super quickly, two questions. Both are somewhat quick. Catherine, best spot to place military spouse on the resume?
I put it up where your contact information is,
Got
right after your name or after your LinkedIn, but in that very top part.
Okay. And then past clearances. You had a TSSCI, you don't anymore. Is it worth calling that out? Does it matter at all?
If you want to put still eligible, that's how we can say it. So you're not saying that you still have it, but we do sponsor clearances. And if you've had one previously for certain roles, that could help you. So it does not hurt you to put it on.
Awesome. There's a couple other questions that are very subjective to the individual that I see your names. I'll write them down and I'll send you an email individually, but those are better suited for one-on-one. Leslie, now let's actually use the good segue I had. Leslie is leading military engagement at ACP, which I'm sure she'll give you an overview of. But I just want to put it out there that ACP is a resource that Boots to Books has seen change so many people's lives. And so really cannot speak highly enough about it. And I'm also going to say, while I say this, that Shamiria will be taking over for me as moderator from here. And so don't freak out when she grabs the mic next. But the amazing Shamiria is on as well. If you haven't connected with her, Director of Programs at Boots to Books. But Leslie, please take the mic from me. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for the invitation, Peter. And I will absolutely share my journey in nonprofit, but I think because so much has been kind of mentioned about ACP, a brief, like 5 minutes to level set the conversation may be helpful. If I could get sharing right, I haven't even tried, but if I could get that, then I will. Oh, yeah, I do have it. Wonderful. Now, the second part of that is if my bandwidth gods in rural Kentucky will be with me, then we'll all be fantastic. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Leslie Coffey. I'm the VP of Military Engagement for ACP. I'm a veteran spouse now. My service member wrapped up 30 years. Last year, I was a part of 28 of those. And so, a little bit about my journey. I'll share more about working in nonprofit space. So, what I'll tell you is I went to 7 universities because I was a military spouse. Every time I moved, I had to transfer. I had to take calculus 3 times because they wouldn't accept it, even though I had a 4.0. Had to take English 101. Like, how different can English 101 be? I'm sharing that to say if you find yourself in those situations, please know that I see you. I've got 4 kids, like Sarah had 5. I've got 4. All of them were WIC kids, food bank, many times. If you are robbing Peter to pay Paul, I see you. Just know that there's hope ahead, and that is why this community comes together. We all are here. We're allies because we recognize it takes all of us collectively to wrap around and really reach and wrap you and help you through this process. Super, super brief overview. Happy to talk one-on-one to give you more about ACP, but just since it's been mentioned, I thought I'd super level set it. We focus on combating underemployment. So underemployment, spouses are more than 70% report being underemployed. When I came through ACP, I'm an alumna. I came through in 2018 before COVID. So I was stationed in the middle of Mojave Desert at the time. There was a spouse that worked at the front desk of the hotel who had a PhD. A PhD, she was a check-in clerk. So that's a great example of being underemployed, right? Remote work wasn't big. Like Chick-fil-A was 96 miles away. That was the economic landscape I was dealing with. So severely underemployed. And we launched for spouses during that time. I had known about ACP because I've been in transition for about 15 years. And I will tell you, I put a countdown app on my phone when I heard they were launching for spouses. I was going to be one of the first to apply. And the result of my mentorship was a 67% increase in pay. So years later, that's why I joined the team. I've just celebrated my 4-year anniversary last week because it's really, I see it as a gift to give this community I've been a part of for 30 years. So when you think about underemployment, it's thinking about not maximizing the use of your strengths, your education, your background, and really not at the right level. So that's what we focus on. We, as Peter mentioned, we had more than 37,000 come through our program. I'm a 2-time alum or 2-time mentor like Sarah, and my service member is an alum. I'm an alum. So I'm like Hair Club for men, but for ACP. I can talk to all the roles. What we do, how we go about combating underemployment is one-to-one customized mentorship. It's completely customized based on your journey. And I will tell you, I actually had no idea what I wanted to do. So my mentor started with career exploration. She just called it window shopping. So if you're really undecided and you need somebody to bounce ideas off and kind of go through that assessment, absolutely our mentors can help with that. My two spouse proteges, that's exactly where we started. My first protege, she had a grace of time. So we took 4 months and we did a lot of deep diving. But let me tell you what, and by the way, I'm 2 for 2 for getting my spouse's great positions. But when we figured out what she wanted to do, she was off to the races. Okay, but Peter's right. Doing that self-awareness, figuring out what is the right fit for you, that is where the magic really happens. That's where you can be very successful. Our program is completely human driven. We have a staff of more than 80, 30% of which are spouses. So you may have another spouse helping you to find a mentor. And you have a point of contact to ACP, and your mentor checks in with you, and they're there with you for an entire year. So it's not even once just to get a position, it's also integrating, making sure you're thriving, crushing that first 90 days, that first 6 months, making sure that had your performance review ready, salary negotiation, all the things. I'm going to spend too much time here, but I just wanted to let you know. These logos, this is where the vast majority of our mentors come from, about 65%. We have many more mentors that are not affiliated. They may be entrepreneurs, they may be civil servants, they may be academia, healthcare. Again, I had a spouse who wanted to be a zoologist. Obviously, that's not one of these logos. And we were able to find her mentor. Had a veteran that wanted to be an urban farmer. Had no clue what that was. We found him a mentor. So anything from astronaut and scooter, ASRC Federal. He is the president of space operations, to Montez Ford of WWE is a mentor, as is the director of cybersecurity and health and cybersecurity at WWE. And a couple of spouse ideas. Currently I had a spouse that wanted to go into comms for nonprofit. Another logo that's not listed here. She is paired with the VP of comms for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So not a logo you see here, but it's based upon her specific interests and goals. Last thing I will share, two more things. For those who came through our program last year, $90,000 was our average starting salary. That does include spouses. What the slide doesn't show is actually 45% didn't have a degree. So it's all about the networking. Everybody on the panel has been speaking to that, and I'm going to talk about that with my path as well. We're not job placements, so it's important to know, like my mentor had 30 years at Microsoft. She wasn't trying to recruit me into Microsoft. She was trying to help me to achieve my goals. And then the last thing I do want to mention is, if you have any interest of launching or growing a business, even if that's not your first career path, if you will, if you need to get the day job, but you want to build a side hustle in the meantime, just so we have an entrepreneurship program, 3 pillars of support. It offers, of course, we have the flagship of the year-long mentorship. Then we also have acpvillage.org. So I will drop all these in the chat in just a moment when I stop sharing. The best-in-class resources, what that's all about is courses for launching and growing a business from our partners. So like McKinsey and Visa and Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Amazon, Travelers, SBA, Vetrepreneur, all these folks that support and have courses for entrepreneurs, they've given them us to house in the village. So it's still their brand. It's just a one-stop shop. You can filter by your stage of business and planning on building and launching and growing. You can filter by if your medium of choice. I prefer articles, I prefer podcasts, I prefer webinars, whatever it is. And then there's a village of supporters there that you can tap into. So you can ask questions on demand, get a village of real-time experts that can reply, and there's no expiration. So you can join that without the mentor. 2 totally independent entities. Play around. I highly encourage you to. It's kind of like Reddit for the village part, kind of like Reddit, but it's safe because it's just the ACP ecosystem. So I'll stop sharing specifically about ACP. I just wanted to kind of level set that. I'll tell you how did I got where I am today. My first 25 years of being a military spouse, the Army made my decision to resign. I never voluntarily resigned. And I even had my own career center at one point, and I had to interview for my replacement because, of course, the Army called me, had to move. And that was like interviewing a stepmom for your kids is all I can equate to, because I built it. I saw the foundation, cut the ribbon with the mayor to open this, and it was my baby, and I had to give it up for the military. So if you had a prime role and it was just, a love labor and you had to give that up, I totally, totally see you and I understand. What I would say about nonprofit work, there's never a day that's the same. Typically in nonprofit work, you wear multiple hats. You have kind of like your day to day, but then you also have a lot of side projects. So if you like something new, and you like to have exposure, maybe you like to have exposure to marketing, maybe you like to have exposure to maybe you like to have exposure to project management operations, then that nonprofit would be a great place for you, because you can dabble in a little bit of everything, because they need the team, if you will, to jump all in. It's very team. Nonprofit for me, in my experience, it has been such a love and so fulfilling. So if you find yourself thinking about something 4 in the morning, 11 at night, when you first wake up, when you're going to bed and you can't cut it off, I don't care if it's gardening, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's something specific that you're always researching and it's, just on the side, then that would be considered, I think you should go in that area. I'll give you an example. My current protege, she told me last year she read 150 books. And I was like, wow, she loves reading. When we are going through career exploration, she's a speech pathologist by choice. Anytime she spoke about children, her eyes lit up. I could just see it. And I'm just getting to know her, but she had a little sparkle in her eyes. We kept digging, but we combined that sparkle that I saw for kids with her passion for reading. Guess where she's at? She's in with the leadership of United Through Reading. So if you've never seen United Through Reading, it is where service members will record reading stories to their kiddos while they deploy. So you talk about a passion project. And so it's really that, designing your life. Love that book. That's fantastic but really digging deep in that awareness of what can I not turn off? Because if it lights a fire in your belly and you find in that space, and I will definitely go on to some others. I think the thing Sarah, maybe even Catherine was talking about, which is we hire, and some other nonprofits I've worked with, it's more attitude than aptitude. Like for my company, I can teach the processes all day. I can teach you the hows about it. I cannot instill passion in you. I cannot instill that to be your why. It has to, again, light a fire within you and to be a love labor. So if you need some help figuring that out, please know that ACP is here for you. My mentor was instrumental in my career journey in finding that. And I just wanted to see if there were any questions. Let me see if there was anything else I owed about what I was supposed to answer. Sorry, I kind of get off on a. Quick advice for any spouses looking to pursue this path. Once you figure out, yes, finding your why, Giselle. Once you figure out your why and you have no experience in the space, volunteering with purpose. Purposeful volunteering will be great because of the relevant experience. Volunteermatch.org, Idealist are great places to find it. There are remote positions available. There's a great Facebook group that's called Nonprofit Remote. Also, you have access to Flex Jobs for free from MySeco. So if you go through MySeco and you go through with a career counselor, they can get you access to Flex Jobs subscription for a year. Flex Jobs are remote positions. Even project work is there as well. it costs, but as a military spouse, you can get it for free from the Department of Defense.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Leslie, for that. I think sometimes we forget about knowing that there's resources out for the spouses, or us not going after those same resources for the vets. So thank you so much. Anyone, have you dropped your LinkedIn to the chat? I'm pretty sure I
I
saw
will
someone.
definitely drop some applications. I'll grab my LinkedIn. Were there any questions? Trying to see.
I didn't see anything, but I can, when we wrap up, I'll go through it again.
Okay.
Thank you again. Thank you. So our next speaker, Kita, I'm not gonna lie, I secretly watch you on LinkedIn. I know that's probably creepy, but I do. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's doing such a great thing. So if you have not, like, you don't know it, but I definitely am watching. So she's amazing, amazing. I'll go ahead and give you the light. And again, we have Kita. She is a program marketing specialist. So please share with us.
I am so excited to be here. So thank you guys for the invitation. I'm just going to chat with you guys like I chat with my friends, and we do a coffee chat or a tea chat, and we just talk about, what it means to be a military spouse and how difficult sometimes it can be to fall into a career path that you absolutely love, if you can say that, but something that you are passionate about and that you enjoy doing. So for me, I am a little bit different than most of the other panelists. I think that my story is quite unique in a lot of ways because I'm fairly new to a lot of this corporate life, if you will. For me, that was not the case. I was a stay-at-home mom, for the longest time. I have 3 kids. My husband recently retired. So we've been retired about, I always like to say 2 moves. So that's about maybe 6 years or so we've been retired now. So Air Force spouse, Air Force. But super excited to just kind of share my story. So like I said, I have 3 kids. I was a stay-at-home mom the entire time. I did not know what I wanted to do at all. I always looked at different things and looked at different jobs. And I was like, yeah, kind of don't want to do that. Kind of don't want to pay for daycare. So I just opted to stay home. And that was fine. My husband was traveling a lot anyway with his job. So it just made sense for me to be at home. And I love being a mom. So I wanted to take that time to understand what I wanted to do before I just jumped into something. So I'm always strategically thinking ahead before I just jump into something and not know exactly what I'm doing. And I think a lot of us are that way. Just naturally, that's our personality with a lot of different things. So long story short, I actually went through the military spouse employment partnership to find my way to where I'm at now. So I'm super excited for that because the company I work for, Loyal Source Government Services, is a partner with MSEP. So it was just kind of a good way for me to find what I wanted to do, but I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I was doing a lot of different things as we retired. We now live in Austin, Texas. So once we got here, I was like, okay, now we're here. Now I can focus on what I want to do. My kids are a little bit older now, so I don't have to be a stay-at-home mom. So I really wanted to have something for me, but something that I really was interested in. So I went into recruitment. So I actually started in recruitment in healthcare. Absolutely loved it. I always knew I wanted to work in healthcare. So once I saw that the MSEP was partnered with Loyal Source. Loyal Source is a great company. If most of you don't know, please know. Please find out about us because a lot of people are almost like we're a diamond in the rough. Loyal Source, we're an Orlando-based company, but we do quite a few things. Not only do we hire military families, hire military veterans, spouses, siblings, it doesn't matter. We're very military proud and we're very much a military-focused company, but we do quite a bit. We have a lot of different government contracts that we work with, including all branches of the military. We do several different government contracts within those, but one that I am super proud to be a part of right now is our newest program that we just was rewarded about 2 years ago with the Veterans Affairs. We are now doing what's called the veteran claim. So when that military veteran transitions out and they go to the VA and start getting their appointments for their benefits, that's pretty much what I handle. So once I started as the healthcare recruiter, I did that for about 7-8 months, really excelled in that, was able to get a promotion before a year. Again, military spouses, we're very much headstrong in what we do, and we love a good challenge, and we put our all into it. So I was able to get promoted very fast. I went over into this program as a provider network recruiter, where my job was to speak to all healthcare providers in all specialties, mostly those who own their own clinics, so directors of bigger hospitals, bigger clinics. I talk to them quite a bit, and just build that partnership, get to know who they are, get to know why they want to work with us, but also the importance of why what we do for military veterans is the focus, right? Because as you know, if you're a veteran spouse like I am now, that compensation and benefits is very important to you as a family, but it's also very important for veterans to get that completed and not have to wait so long. So our company has been able to streamline it pretty fast. So now moving forward again, I'm now one of the, the only marketing specialist, because I was able to kind of pave my way into that path naturally, which I'm super thankful for the opportunity that they were able to see that need and that value in me to add that to our program. So Shamiria, I really appreciate you seeing what I'm doing, because a lot of times, sometimes you don't know what you're doing and you don't know that people are watching, but you do it because you love it. And so that passion for me now, being a veteran spouse, I know what that looks like. I know watching my spouse go to these appointments, how important that is. So when I'm speaking to providers who are clinic owners, and I'm trying to get them to see what that vision looks like, or if that's any of your focus at all, please join our team, because we're always looking for people that are interested in an opportunity, but if it means something to them, like something like this is so important, we're able to bring on a lot of people. So so far, the company has done great in this particular program that I work with. My day-to-day typically is me strategically planning what content looks like for us. That could be internal, that could be if I go out into our clinic spaces, because we do have our own clinics, but then we also work with individuals who own their own clinics. So I go between the both of them. So I also make sure we support our team in that way. So a typical day for me looks like having a good time. Like I said, creating content versus like social media posts, email campaigns, digital materials to really engage those providers in what we're doing. So with that, I coordinate and I work with a lot of my team on the operations side of the house, the provider recruitment team, the business development team. So we really sit and we plan what that looks like based on what the work consumes of. And so when it comes to recruiting, I'm always going to be a recruiter at heart, and healthcare is like my main focus. So any kind of way we can package up something that is meaningful to healthcare providers, that's really what we focus on. So with that, I work a lot in Canva, our Hootsuite, scheduling posts, project management with a lot of different contributions that I do with our internal team, and our communications team is a big part of that as well. Our PR team is a huge part of that also. But the biggest part about what I do is just making sure providers understand, again, what the importance of this work means to us, and how important it can be to them for veterans to get their benefits and get that taken care of and out of the way. So it's just helping our team build a strong connection with them through the marketing effort, and allowing them to see the glimpse of the day-to-day, because a lot of the people that I work with are veterans. So a veteran just gets it, but we've also been super thankful to partner with veteran owners that are entrepreneurs themselves, who were in the medical field when they were in the military, and now they have their own clinic. So we've been grateful to connect with those people, and they see what we're doing, and it just makes sense for them to say, yes, this is absolutely something that I would add to my current business, so why not? So understanding what the provider's perspective is, that is also kind of on the sales side. So I think about it as customer service, right? So, if you have a provider that is interested in what I'm doing, I engage with them in a customer service base. So it's just being personable with them, but also throwing my pitch in there. What is it that I'm looking for? What can you help me with? So it's a lot of relationship building, but also giving them that clear perspective on what that communication looks like for us. So just keeping it real simple. I feel like anything recruitment to me is sales. I don't care what anybody says. So if you're a good salesperson, you're not really selling. You're really just strategically talking about what you're doing, talking about what your goal is, what the target is, and allowing them to see it and understand the vision and want to be a part of the mission. So I love that Loyal Source is big on that. You know, we're big on the mission, we're big on our vision, but we're also super big on our clients. And we make sure that what we're doing is delivering exactly what we're saying is what we're doing. And what better way for me to go to work every day and do that for military veterans, because it's so, so important. So I'm super thankful to be a part of a team that understands it, that gets it, but also on the other side of that, I get to engage with that same dynamic of people who were once in the military. But aside from the internal things, I do quite a bit of travel as well. So I do manage all of our different conferences that we go to. Not quite sure why I have not crossed paths with some of you, but I know a lot of the panelists because I may know some people that work within your space, but it's just good to be a part of something where the military is so small that we're all going to cross paths together at some point anyway. So I always just want to make sure that I'm presenting as my best self when we're out and about and we're speaking to these healthcare providers. Again, in all specialties is what we handle, from dental to general medicine to optometry. So that sales and recruitment background has been something that has been super helpful for me as I have transitioned from recruitment into this particular role now in marketing. So, you know, if anybody is ever interested in how I was able to pivot from one thing to the next, I think a few of the panelists kind of spoke about it. Just kind of see what works for you. Because as you start working in the space that you work in, you'll see very fast what you're more passionate about. But if you work with good people, they'll see that in you too and allow you to just do it. You know, just go forth with what you are passionate about and it will show. So I truly believe that if anybody wants to chat with me more about the in-depth things that I typically do on a day-to-day, please reach out because I love to kind of talk more about this. I think that MSEP is a great program to be a part of. So if you don't know about it, please get into their system. Again, our company is partnered with them. So if you have any questions, I'm pretty sure I know because I'm in calls with them quite a bit. So please reach out. I also want to throw a little nugget out there. I think someone was asking about how to add the military spouse function to your LinkedIn. But if you don't know, aside from just being able to add it to your main profile, as you see it up there, you can also go into your settings in the personal demographic information piece, and it will ask you if you are a military spouse. So I think that's super important for us to know that, because even if it's not in your heading, at least whoever is a recruiter, we will see that because that's a new function that was not long ago added to LinkedIn. So I just want to make sure that you guys knew that. I want to make sure I have everything else I wanted to touch on. Again, you know, just being intentional about what you're wanting to do with your career. I think it's super important as you're figuring out what that looks like. Because again, I didn't know what it looked like, but once I got my feet wet, one thing that is super important to me and that I don't care when it is, time of day, networking is everything. I think everyone has said that. That's really how I got my job. It was not me applying. It was just me being honest with who I was, being my full self, being my authentic self. But networking is everything. So if you're scared to talk, please figure out a way. You can call me to make you feel a little bit more comfortable, but please get comfortable with networking with people. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. People still reach out to me and I just get so beside myself. I'm like, I used to be that girl. I think Kat said that because I did reach out to Kat at a point when I didn't know what I wanted to do. But it's so important. Just get comfortable about doing it because you will be surprised. The feedback that you would get, the advice you will get, but also it allows you to kind of see, okay, this is maybe the path I might want to go in. So that's really how I was able to get into recruitment in the healthcare space with a company who is military focused. And I was able to come in remote, so I never have to go to the office. So kudos to that. So if anybody has any questions for me, please reach out. I always love to chat when I have the time. And so if you want to have a meeting, we can do a coffee chat, whatever the case is for you. I'm always down for that. So I will make sure to put my information back in the chat if I have not already done it. If you want to know more about Loyal Source, we do everything. We don't just do one thing. You know, we have several different opportunities across the board. So if you are looking for work, we have open roles. So if you're in healthcare right now, we are hiring for physician assistants in particular, nurse practitioners. We have psychologists. We have quite a bit of things. So if you're in the market for a new role and you want to work with a company that is military focused, I urge you to try and check us out at loyalsource.com. All the information is there. If you want to know more about what our veteran services look like, that is under there as well. So just go peruse, see what we're about. But I really feel like it's a really great company that understands us as a military spouse, but also gets us as a military focused family as well. So that's all I have. I would love to answer any questions if anyone has anything.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think it's so important for us to share like our journey. There's somebody that's going to have a very similar, and you may feel alone. So all the panelists, thank you again for sharing that and the resources. I myself, I'm always open. Just like the panelists, I also am a military spouse. But I also was a vet as well, or was military. So I always love, especially with the military spouses, because when I know what the both sides of that looks like, how being someone that's in the service with a spouse and then having that person leave a lot. And I don't think that we put that out there enough. So one of the things that I was stating was it is really, really great to put that on your resume and it's really great to put it on your LinkedIn, but you need to also incorporate that when you're in interviews. I homeschooled my kids for quite a bit because my husband was still active and I was not. But you wouldn't get like there's so many people that look at that. I had 3 kids. I had 3 boys that I homeschooled. And I'm telling you what, when I share those stories, like, yeah, I took a break, I homeschooled 3 children, they see those skills, they'll start saying like, oh, you must have a lot of patience, or you must have this, or there are so many skills that we forget that we have because we're only worried about what they're not going to see. So make sure like take a look in the mirror because I feel like even as women, but as spouses, we forget because I don't know about you, but there was 2 times we moved, and I'm telling you what, I had to sign all the documents on the house. I had to bring all the furniture, and that's project management. I don't care what anyone says, it's project management. So make sure you really look into yourself and pull those skills that you don't think you have, but if you have kids, that's patience. That's project management, keeping them from killing each other and keeping them fed. I'm just saying. So please, don't deny that of yourself. And just like Keita said, like networking is one of the absolute most things. I really wish that when we did TAPS, which is what we do when we get out, they share that because they tell us how to do a resume and they tell us how to put ourselves out there as far as LinkedIn. But networking is like breathing because if you can't do that, if you're not putting yourself out there, no one sees you, so I know I saw somebody ask and what else you can do. There are so many groups that meet up, maybe locally, finding what it is that you're wanting to do, finding those meetup groups. That is another really great thing is finding meetup groups. Myself, I'm in cybersecurity, so there's a lot of meetups for the groups or people that are in that industry. Whatever industry you're looking for, there's probably a group meeting up locally. So those are some really, really great things to do too. Again, panelists, thank you so much. We are always looking for ideas. So if there's something that you're interested in that maybe wasn't spoken about, please reach out to myself or Peter. And I'm gonna go through any of the questions I don't see. So, okay, I know that Peter's been doing a really great job answering everything. So I will go ahead and just give you guys another panelist. Thank you again so very much. And then everyone that showed up, please, we are so honored and we love supporting our veterans, but like people don't understand like how important my husband tells me every day, like if it wasn't for you, I don't know where I'd be. So like so much love to our spouses for real. Like please give yourself a round of applause. I don't think we do that enough. There will definitely be some information sent out about those scholarships that Peter did share. Google has some really great certifications. So if there's something that you're interested in, go for it. Just get it. It is very okay to have like a very broad background. I've done hospitality, I've done finance, I've done real estate. And right now I'm in cybersecurity, which is my actual love. But all those things, all those experiences I did, I wouldn't be where I'm at without those. So definitely get a certification. You may not know that you like it, so go for it. We're going to definitely email the recording a full list of all the resources that everyone shared, some career exploration, and then I think there's also going to be some links as well that we'll be sharing. Again, please follow Boots to Books, ACP, our mentor. I know people have probably seen it, but definitely is open for all our service members, spouses, independent. So please check that out. And again, thank you everyone for coming. I know it's the weekend and you could be out sunbathing. Well, if you're in Texas, burning up, but you could be doing so much more. So thank you for investing in yourself and taking the time with us. So again, you guys have a really great afternoon and we'll see you guys again. Let me make sure I'm all set. I think so. I think there are some questions. I don't want to miss anybody. And if not, please definitely put your LinkedIn. It's always great to share that. I'm not sure if we can share the links, but I can go ahead and I'll go ahead and share or save the transcript. So maybe we can do that too. But definitely share it. Let's all connect. That is the way to also get like-minded people. So again, I'm more than open to speak on anything and everything. So again, thank you again for sharing your time with us. We really appreciate it. And everyone have a really, really great day.